I've seen it described as the biggest political transition in 6 decades, and yet if the new president ultimately is still going to be answering to the Castros, how big a change is this really going to be politically?
I believe that tomorrow is going to look very much like today and yesterday. So there is a symbolic change, no doubt, as the Castro family moves out of a formal leadership position in the government. But as you've mentioned, Raul Castro will continue to have the Communist Party of Cuba for the time being. He is 86 years old, and the longevity does run in the Castro family. They are not immortal. So,
Richard.
Yes.
Well, I wanted just to get your sense. So Miguel Diaz-Canel took over as Cuba's president, on Thursday, right, today. And we are looking at worsening relations between President Trump and Cuba. So economically, what are you expecting for Cuba?
Economically, Cuba is passing through right now a very difficult time. For about 2 or 3 years at this point, Raul has sent a message to the Cuban population to prepare yourselves for another special period, referring to the time in the early 90s and through the decade of the 90s, after the fall of the Soviet Union, when Cuba really fell out of what was the Second World sort of communist sphere led by the Soviet Union and into a condition of a very poor developing country. With the openings that have taken place in Cuba, so internal restructuring of the Cuban economy, there have been opportunities, no doubt, for some Cubans to get ahead. Nevertheless, the macroeconomic outlook for Cuba is very difficult. The American embargo continues to stifle economic growth, to impede economic growth, and at the same time, Cuba is looking for and has found, in fact, other investors and backers in other countries.